Good morning, lovelies. Let's talk about the woman on the well. Jesus. Coffee. Christ offers forgiveness for everyone, everywhere. Sure, my daughter got me for Christmas. So let's talk about, I want to go over the next 3 days, I want to go over some women of the Bible. So often you hear, women just are downplayed. No, they're not. Read this thing and you'll find out how critical women really are in the Bible. How important, some of the most important roles and some of the most important characters in the Bible are actually women. I want to talk about one today, probably to me, one of my favorite women in the Bible. Why is she my favorite? Because she was the first person Jesus truly exposed himself to as the Messiah. I mean, he exposed himself to his disciples as, a teacher, but the woman at the well was truly the first person that wasn't one of his disciples that he really exposed himself as the Messiah to. So I want to go over it. So she was a Samaritan woman. And to give you some context, Samaritans and Jews did not get along. They hated each other. Did not like each other whatsoever. And you'll hear some of that through here. So Jesus and his disciples were actually trekking through to go to back to Jerusalem. And they actually trekked through specifically to Samaria. So just so Jesus could meet this woman. Yes. Specifically for that. So I want to go through this interaction. Whoops, sorry. Nudged my stand with my commentary. So this takes place in John 4. And again, guys, when I talk about reading the Bible and getting into the Bible and digging into the Bible, John really exposes and really shows you Jesus' attributes. And when you want to fall in love with your Savior, you do it in John. And this is another example of that. So Jesus knew, so they left Judea and departed again, actually, to go to Galilee. And they came to Samaria, which was called Sychar. So this woman in the middle of the day comes to draw water. Now, to give you some context of that, typically the women would come in the early morning to draw water. This woman came in the heat of the day. Why did she come in the heat of the day? Because she was shamed. Because she had been married many times. So she was shamed. Nobody wanted to be around her. So here comes Jesus, the compassion king. So a woman of Samaria came to draw water. So this conversation really starts in verse 7. Because Jesus was wearied from the travel, so he wanted to sit down and rest. But where did he choose to rest? At the well, where there was nobody there until this woman arrives. A woman of Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink." For his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food, so he was sitting there by himself for this one-on-one interaction. Again, these one-on-one interactions that he gives people, amazing. The woman of Samaria said to him, "How is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans." Jesus answered and said to her, "If you knew the gift of God, and who it is that says to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water. Exposing it right there. If you knew the gift of God you had right in front of you. The woman said to him, "Sir, you have nothing to draw with." So she's thinking, physically, give me a drink, or he would have given her a drink. He's talking spiritually. And the well is deep. Where then do you get the living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as well as the sons and his livestock? I love Jesus' answer to her. Whoever drinks of this water will thirst again, but whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up in everlasting life. So that's that living water inside of us, guys, that we never thirst because we have the source of it all. The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water that I may not thirst, nor come here to draw." Listen to his answer here, guys, and this is really where I want you to focus and pay attention, because this is his compassion. Good morning, Beast. What's going on, buddy? Listen to what he says to her here, guys, and this, I'm going to break this down because what he's saying is much, much deeper than his words. He tells her, so she's saying, "Give me this water." His response, "Go call your husband and come here." Now I want you to sit on that, because that's a pivotal comment that he makes right there. And that has a much, much deeper meaning than just the words. The woman answered and said, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "You have well said, I have no husband, for you've had 5 husbands. And the one whom you have now is not your husband. In that you spoke truly." So he's saying, you're speaking the truth. You don't have a husband. You've had 5, and the one you have now is not your husband. So she's living immorally. The woman said to him, and here she goes. She's thinking, great, I don't come to the well in the morning so I can avoid this. And now I'm going to get it here. Great. The woman said to him, "Sir, I perceive that you're a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, and you Jews say that in Jerusalem is the place where one ought to worship." So let me just pump the brakes right there. And what Christ is saying to her, what Jesus was actually saying to her was, when he said, "Go call your husband and bring him here," what he's really telling her, guys, in deep is, give me your shame. Give it to me. That's mine. Come to me. Bring everything you have to me. Bring your shame, bring your hurt, bring your pain, bring everything to me. That's really what he's saying to her there. She feels shame because she's been married 5 times. She's shamed by the other women who live in Samaria, which is why she goes to the well when she goes to the well, to avoid that shame. But Jesus is saying, bring it to me. Bring it to me. That's how compassionate and that's how loving he is, guys. He wants you to bring your shame to him. And who does he use to expose this? A woman. Who is this tender, compassionate interaction with? A woman. Because he uses women all through the Bible. So many. We're going to uncover a few more over the next couple days, but I love this interaction. So Jesus just goes on in this conversation to tell her that, look, she can't go to the temple because she feels shamed, and, the temple is in Jerusalem, and Jews and Samaritans hate each other, so Samaritans can't even go to the temple. And Jesus is really telling her it's not about a temple. It's not about a building. It's about the heart. Worshiping God. God is spirit. Spirit and truth. And it's all about the heart. Worshiping him is heart. It's a heart condition. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. Bring your shame, bring everything. Just be truthful with him. The woman said to him, I know that Messiah is coming, who is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things. So she's saying, when the Messiah comes, listen to what Jesus says to her. I who speak to you am he. Saying, I'm right here. You're waiting on a Messiah, and he's sitting right in front of you. You know, and that's just how tender he is. You know, who does he first come to and say, I am the Messiah? But a Samaritan woman who'd been married 5 times and is now living immorally. Jesus didn't sit there and shame her. You're living immorally. He didn't sit there and judge her and shame her. What did he do? He said, come to me. Come to me. Go get your husband and bring him to me. Just bring your shame to me. Didn't shame her, didn't judge her, didn't beat her down, but showed compassion and love and said, the Messiah you speak of, I am he. Wow. Can you imagine sitting there knowing you're standing face to face and having a one-on-one conversation with your Savior? Wow, that's powerful. But yet, we can have that one-on-one conversation with our Savior. It's called prayer, guys. It's called prayer. Whatever that pose looks like for you, bring your shame to him and have that one-on-one conversation like she did. This woman in the Bible is nameless. She is the Samaritan woman, or the woman at the well. Remains nameless. God never exposed her actual name. But she is the Samaritan woman, or the woman at the well. So awesome. I love that interaction. And just how tender he is, and how compassionate, and how merciful, and how graceful. How gracious he was with her. Gave her so much grace. Didn't beat her down, didn't judge her, didn't pound on her about her past. No. Why? Because that's not what he does. He doesn't pound on us about our past. He's already paid the penalty for our past. He's already paid the penalty for our future. And if it doesn't hit you in the heart to know that the scourging that he took, the crown of thorns that he took, the hair that were pulled out of his face and his head, the mocking that he took, all the mockery, and the spikes that were driven through his hands, and how his side was pierced. Guys, if that doesn't hit you in the heart to know that he did that for you, come talk to me. Because I'll tell you right now, as I sat and wrote that soap took me a little longer to write, because twice in the middle of that soap I had to stop and wipe my face from the tears streaming down my face because of who he is and what he's done for me and what he does for you, what he's already done and what he's giving you. That life of no longer walking separated, but walking reconciled in him and having eternity with him. Something we couldn't buy, something we couldn't earn ever. Doesn't matter how good we think we are, we could never earn that. He gave us that. Gave us that gift. So, I love you guys. We'll be back tomorrow with whichever woman Dad wants to talk about next. But we're going to talk about some women over the next 2 days. So, love you guys.